You're in a conversation. She steps forward, arms open, and pulls you into a hug. Not a quick side hug or a polite embrace, a real one. Her arms wrap around your shoulders. Her body leans into yours. The hug lingers a second longer than expected, and in that moment you feel something shift. Maybe you've been here before. Maybe you've wondered what it actually meant. Most men think a hug is just a hug, but if you're over 50, you've lived long enough to know better. You've learned that people communicate more through what they don't say than what they do. And a woman's hug, when you know how to read it, can tell you everything about where you stand with her. Subscribe to Mature Instincts, where we explore the hidden signals most people miss. Let's start with something most men don't think about. A hug is not neutral. It's not just friendly contact or a social formality. It's a moment where a woman decides how much of herself to share with you, how close she's willing to get, and how comfortable she feels in your presence. The way she initiates it, the way she holds you, the way she releases, all of it carries meaning. And the men who understand this don't have to guess. They simply notice. Here's the first thing to understand. When a woman hugs you with her full body, when her chest presses against yours and her arms wrap firmly around your back or shoulders, she's signaling trust. She's not creating distance. She's not protecting herself. She's allowing herself to be vulnerable with you, even if only for a few seconds. That matters. Because women don't do that with men they're uncertain about. They don't lean into men they're trying to keep at arm's length. A full contact hug means she feels safe. It means she sees you as someone solid, someone who doesn't make her second guess herself. That's not something younger men always recognize, but you do, because you've been on the other side of it. You've felt the stiff, polite hug where her body pulls back even as her arms go through the motions. You know the difference. Now let's talk about initiation. When a woman initiates the hug, especially when there's no obvious reason, no greeting or goodbye that requires it, she's revealing something. She's choosing to close the physical gap between you. That's an approach signal. It's her way of testing the space between you, of seeing if you'll receive her warmth without overreacting or pulling away. Watch how she does it. Does she move toward you with ease, as if it's natural? Does she smile before she reaches for you? Does her body language stay relaxed and open? If so, she's comfortable expressing affection toward you. That's a green light, not a demand, not a challenge, but a sign that she's emotionally open. For men over 50, this kind of signal is gold because it's not manufactured. It's not part of some script she's running. It's genuine. The duration of the hug tells you even more. A quick hug, the kind that lasts barely a second, is usually procedural. It's the equivalent of a handshake. Polite, appropriate, but emotionally flat. But when a woman holds the hug, when she doesn't immediately pull away, when there's that extra beat where neither of you moves, that's when you know something deeper is happening. She's savoring the moment. She's not in a hurry to break contact. That doesn't happen by accident. It happens because she enjoys being close to you. It happens because she's drawn to your presence. And as a man with decades of experience, you recognize that. You don't rush it. You don't fill the silence with words or jokes. You let the moment exist. Because that's what maturity allows you to do. You trust the silence. You trust the stillness. Pay attention to where her hands go. This is subtle, but it matters. If her hands rest flat against your back, it's warm but measured. She's comfortable, but she's not surrendering to the moment. Now contrast that with a woman whose hands move. Maybe she rubs your back gently. Maybe her fingers press into your shoulders. Maybe one hand slides up toward the back of your neck. Those are signs of deeper affection. She's not just hugging you, she's holding you. There's intention behind it, there's emotion. Women do this when they feel genuinely connected to a man, when they want him to feel cared for. It's nurturing, yes, but it's also intimate. And it's something that a lot of younger men miss entirely because they're too focused on what comes next. You're not. You notice the small things, the things that reveal what words never could. Now let's consider the context. A hug in public carries different weight than a hug in private. When a woman hugs you in front of others, especially in front of people she knows, she's signaling that she's proud to be close to you. She's not hiding her affection. She's not worried about what people will think. That's a powerful statement. It means you've earned her respect, not just her attraction. She sees you as someone worth being associated with. For men over 50, this is often more meaningful than overt displays of desire, because it reflects substance. It reflects the kind of presence that can't be faked. But a hug in private, when it's just the two of you, that's when walls come down. There's no performance, there's no audience. When a woman hugs you alone and the hug feels different, softer, more lingering, she's allowing herself to feel what she might hold back in public. Maybe she rests her head on your shoulder. Maybe she closes her eyes. Maybe she exhales deeply, like she's been carrying tension, and your presence lets her release it. These are moments of real intimacy. She's not thinking about how it looks, she's thinking about how it feels. And if you're calm, if you're present, if you don't rush to fill the space with anything unnecessary, she'll remember that. She'll feel that you're the kind of man who makes her feel at ease. Let's talk about the release. How a woman ends a hug is just as revealing as how she begins it. When she pulls away slowly, when her hands linger on your arms or chest for a moment, when she looks up at you before fully stepping back, she's reluctant to let go. She's extending the connection. She's giving you time to respond, to hold her gaze, to acknowledge what just passed between you. That's an invitation, not a verbal one, but an emotional one. It's her way of saying, I'm here, I'm open. And as a man who's been around long enough to read between the lines, you don't need her to spell it out. You feel it, you see it, and you respond not with words, but with presence. On the other hand, when a woman ends the hug quickly, when she steps back without lingering, when her body language immediately shifts to something more neutral or distant, she's closing the door. Not necessarily forever, but in that moment. Maybe she's not ready. Maybe she's testing to see if you'll respect her boundaries. Maybe she's unsure and needs more time. Whatever the reason, the mature man doesn't push. He doesn't ask questions or try to decode it out loud. He simply respects the signal and continues being the kind of man worth hugging in the first place. There's another layer here that younger men rarely consider. Sometimes a woman hugs you not because she's attracted to you in a romantic way, but because she feels safe with you. She feels protected. She feels like you're someone she can lean on without judgment. That might not sound exciting, but it's foundational because safety and trust are prerequisites for everything else. If a woman doesn't feel safe with you, nothing else matters. And for men over 50, this is where your experience becomes an advantage. You've lived long enough to know that protection doesn't mean aggression. It means steadiness. It means calm. It means being the kind of man who doesn't need to prove anything because his presence speaks for itself. Think about the difference between a woman who hugs you and immediately starts talking, filling the air with chatter, versus a woman who hugs you and stays quiet. The former is often a sign of nervousness. She's comfortable enough to hug you, but she's not comfortable enough to just be. The latter, the silence, that's where real intimacy lives. When a woman can hug you and not feel the need to explain it or laugh it off or break the tension, she's at ease. She trusts that the moment doesn't need to be managed. And you, as a mature man, you understand that. You don't fill the silence. You don't rush to make it comfortable. You let her feel what she needs to feel. Here's something else worth noting. When a woman hugs you goodbye and the hug feels heavier, more meaningful than the greeting, something happened during your time together. Maybe it was a conversation, maybe it was just the way you carried yourself. But she's leaving with more warmth toward you than she arrived with. That's progress, that's connection. And it's the kind of thing that builds over time. Not through grand gestures, but through consistency, through being the same steady, grounded man every time she sees you. One more thing. Pay attention to whether she initiates touch outside of the hug. If a woman hugs you and later in the conversation she touches your arm, your shoulder, or finds a reason to be physically close again, the hug wasn't a one-time thing. It was the beginning. She's comfortable with you, she's drawn to you, and she's testing to see if you're the kind of man who can handle that closeness without becoming needy or overwhelming. You are, because you've learned that attraction grows in space, not in pressure. You've learned that the men who win aren't the ones who chase. They're the ones who allow. So let's bring this together. A woman's hug, when you know how to read it, is a window into how she feels about you. The way she initiates, the way she holds you, the way she releases, the context, the duration, the silence, all of it tells a story. And as a man over 50, you have the experience to read that story without needing it explained. You've learned that women communicate through subtlety, through gesture, through the space between words. And you've learned that the men who succeed aren't the ones who demand clarity. They're the ones who trust their instincts. They're the ones who notice. Here's what this all comes down to. Maturity gives you an edge that younger men don't have. You don't need to guess. You don't need to analyze everything to death. You simply pay attention, you trust what you feel, and you respond with the kind of calm confidence that only comes from decades of experience. You know that a hug isn't just a hug, it's a signal. And when you understand the language, you don't have to chase answers. They come to you. So the next time a woman hugs you, notice. Notice how she does it. Notice how long it lasts. Notice what she does afterward. Don't overthink it. Don't interrogate it. Just observe, because in that observation, you'll find everything you need to know. And you'll realize once again that the advantages of being over 50 aren't just about what you've learned. They're about what you no longer need to prove. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever noticed the difference between a polite hug and one that carried real meaning? What did you pick up on that told you she felt something more? Drop a comment below and share your experience. And if this resonated with you, hit the like button, subscribe to Mature Instincts, and join us as we continue uncovering the hidden signals most people miss. Because the more you notice, the more you understand. And the more you understand, the more powerful your presence becomes.